In today's video, we're going to talk about fractal confirmation. I have a free 13-part video series that you can sign up to. It's a free mini course covering 10 different topics. It goes over risk management, technical analysis, and trading psychology, and it's going to help you turn your negative results into positive results. So once you finish this video, head over to the link in the description and sign up there. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to take a look at fractal confirmation. I'm going to show you confirmation entries on the high time frame, confirmation entries on the low time frame, and how you can combine the two to get the highest probability entries for trades. So first of all, what we're going to do is run through and I'll show you what a confirmation entry is. I'll show you what I mean when I talk about fractal confirmation entries. And then I'm going to show you a couple of examples on EURUSD that I took last week, where I entered with the high time frame confirmation entries, but you could have easily gotten with fractal confirmation as well. So first things first, what is a confirmation entry? Well, a confirmation entry is just a shift in structure from low to high or from high to low. So basically what we're looking for a confirmation entry is rather than just buying the lows in a market, rather than just buying into a downtrend or selling into an uptrend, we wait for a shift in structure. So this is structure confirmation, and this is how I get into pretty much all of my trades. So if we have a market that is pushing lower, like this, lower low, lower high, lower low, what we want to see to confirm that entry is a break to the upside. Now this break to the upside is going to confirm to us that the structure has shifted from down to up. So at this point, we've seen lower low, lower high, lower low. Then we break into a higher high, and then our entry will normally be prepped up somewhere here, right, within any demand zone that we have down in the low. Now, the market will then often tap in as it pulls back to fill liquidity. We fill the imbalance, trade into demand, and then we get the push up. So that is a confirmation trade. That is how we use confirmation entries. So what do I mean when I say fractal confirmation? Well, fractal basically means that the same patterns will happen on multiple different time frames, and the markets will essentially work in the same way whether you're looking at the daily chart or the 1 minute chart. Fractal confirmation combines the two to actually get the highest probability entries. So here is our standard confirmation entry. We've had lower low, lower high, lower low. Now we've broken to a higher high. So this is where we would first begin looking for a trade. Now let's say this happened on the 15-minute time frame, right? So now we have 15-minute confirmation. We have options here. We could either just buy straight in using a buy limit if the market tapped in, and then we would be tapped in, and when the market moves, we move with it. But this has more risk of being stopped out than fractal confirmation. What fractal confirmation is basically to scale down to the lower time frames and look for this exact same pattern again. So we may now go to, for example, the 5-minute or the 1 minute time frame. We might wait for this movement into a range. And then when we break out like this, you can see here, we have the same pattern on the low time frame, just there, as we have here in this larger picture, right? So we have the area where the market shifts from lower lows and lower highs into a higher high. And then we are looking on the 1 or 5 minute for the lower lows and lower highs to turn into higher highs. What we can do here is put our buy limit on this point. And what it allows us to do is get higher probability entries because we are double confirmed from the high and the low time frames. And we also get to have tighter stops because we no longer have to clear the full 15-minute range. We can clear the low of that low time frame entry. So let's have a look at the compared trades. If we were to use a standard confirmation entry, we may get in a trade like this. So that would be 4.5R to this point. However, if we use the fractal confirmation, we may be able to extend that up to around 10, 11R. So it's quite a lucrative thing to do, and it also gives you higher probability for your trades. Now, it's not going to happen every single time. You will miss more setups doing this, but the ones you do catch are going to be significantly higher probability and significantly higher reward as well. So what I'm going to do is head over to EURUSD and show you 2 trades that I took last week, one of which I sent to my free Discord, and I'll break them down from the high time frame confirmation, and I'll show you how the fractal confirmation came in as well to get you some nice movements there. Trade number 1, EURUSD from last week. What we've seen here is price come into an hourly demand zone. Now we have another hourly demand zone below, so this is how fractal confirmation can help you as well, right? We can decide, is this the safest one to buy from, or could we use this one? Now here we can see the structure on this down move on the hourly is lower lows and lower highs. Here's the final lower low, lower high, lower low. Then we had a breakout which broke into a higher high. Okay, so what this does is confirm the entry. This is that first standard confirmation pattern, just a little bit like this. This is what we're seeing right now. So what we could do is buy straight in, or we could wait for fractal confirmation. And as that's the topic of this video, that is what we're going to do. So from here, what we can do is go down to the lower time frames and assess the current price action that we're looking at. Now we can see the market's pulled down towards this 15-minute zone. So let's mark this 15-minute zone on here. And then what I'll do is actually refine a little bit lower. I'm going to remove this for now. to the 5 minute and see if there's any refinements we can make to this zone. So here is our 5 minute zone to work with. This is the last imbalanced candle before the big push up, and we can see price has just traded into it. Now this is where we could go to those lower time frames. Because we have a 5 minute zone to work with, we can actually look at the 1 minute time frame. As we can see here, we have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So what we could look for now is a break of structure. And if we got a break of structure, that would then confirm that we could go for some fractal confirmation. Now at this point, the reason I didn't enter from here was because we'd just come and traded into this supply zone, right? So really, when we're looking for fractal confirmation, we want to make sure we are not zoomed in too much and that we are keeping in mind meaningful structure. So now that this has been retested, now that this supply zone has been fulfilled by that price move that we just had, if we were to break through this structure point here, that would confirm what we need to see for a structure entry, okay? Simply because this was a imbalanced supply. Now the imbalanced supply is this one here. So if we broke above this high, we could look for short. It would be even more favorable if we were to totally push over that zone. So let's let the market run for a little bit. And as we can see here, we've actually had a push up, which has broken the first structure point. We got more confirmation because we've pushed through the second structure point. So what we could do now is look for imbalanced demand in the lows. As we can see here, at the extreme, we have this demand, which was just about not retested. If you zoom in there, we have very light tap nearing the edge, as you can see, but didn't quite retest it. So this leaves an imbalanced demand that we could enter from. And this is where we would go ahead and put our buy limit on. So we could put a buy limit there. For this trade, our stop loss could be there. And for our targets, we could push towards this area. That's going to be a 6R trade. We could potentially push a little bit higher actually to this imbalanced supply. And then we could look to get out of the trade. So that's a 7.44R trade over a very small amount of pips, 32 pips. And our stop loss is 4.3. So you can see here, this is the fractal confirmed entry. And the reason it is fractal confirmed is because we had the high time frame, 15-minute break, the hourly break of structure as well. Then we had price come down into this 15-minute and 5-minute refined demand zone. And from there, we saw a break of structure here, pushing through this structure point and this structure point as well. Then the market pulled back to this imbalanced demand, tapped us in, and has now started the move. As you can see, we came and traded into that supply. And from there, we started to sell off. So that is a structure confirmation move. Now that we've fulfilled that first movement, we've got a few things to keep in mind. The market could push up above this high. If it did that, we could then look for continued confirmation entries. Alternatively, the market might push all the way down towards this final demand. Then we could look for a fractal confirmation entry from there. And if that doesn't happen either, we have one more option. And the other idea is that maybe we will come into a refined demand zone down in these lows. So what we can do is actually mark out refined demand here. We have this parallel channel tool. We can drag this across. We can see we have this imbalanced demand zone down in the low. So now we can see if the market reacts from here and gives us a confirmation entry on the low time frames, that will be a second fractal confirmation entry, right? Because if we look at the 30-minute, we still haven't broken through this lower low. So even if we pull this low into this zone, we're still forming a higher low. Therefore, meaning the higher time frame structure is intact. That's the structure confirmation there. And if we got the low time frame structure confirmation as well, we could happily buy into that. So letting the market run down, we can see we've tapped into this zone now. The 1 minute time frame shows that we've had a bit of a push away. And what we saw was a tap in, a push up. We've broken some of this substructure. Then the market's come down, retested demand here, and made a push up again. So at this point, we can see, well, we've broken through this structure, but I would prefer to see a little bit of a continuation really before I started buying into this. So we did break this little structure point as well. Now what we could look for is a entry from this demand zone down here. Now we might want to use this indecision candle instead, because this is obviously the final candle before the imbalance, last candle before the impulse, which is how I use my zones. Some of you may actually do the last down candle before the up move, so your entry would be off this one. That would probably work just as fine as well. But for me, I like to use the last candle before the impulse, so I would go with this one for my entry. What we would do from here is work out, is this efficient? We can see here, this is a demand zone which has been retested. So the last point of inefficiency is actually at this zone here. So our buy could go there, stop loss could go under this low, and then our target could go towards, maybe, let's say we're going to go clear the high. So now we see after that tap in, we get the push up, we trade into that area. We may then go and fulfill our larger targets as well. So there you can see this fractal confirmation entry that we just took here off the 1 minute, which also could have been maybe executed on the 5 minute, has brought us up to an 18.5R position. So while you can go in with standard confirmations and get nice risk reward, fractal confirmation can help you to get monumental results from your work, right? This has taken us to the previous structure high. If we go to the 30-minute time frame, you'll see that, and then actually slightly beyond. Now, the reason we wouldn't be looking for huge extended targets is due to this demand here. And let's actually see if the market comes in. Will we get another fractal confirmation entry? After the last confirmation moves that we just took, we did see the market come down into that more refined demand zone at the bottom. What we would have wanted to see from here was a tap and then a break of structure. As we can see, in this structure, we have this high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Now we've had an impulsive break up, and that has actually pushed through this structure point here. And also this one here. So now we have a confirmed move once again, and this has also swept out this kind of liquidity that we've got going on just beneath these lows as well. So let's clear that for now. Let's clear this up a little bit. We'll leave those trades on. And now what we could be looking for, and this is the trade I sent out to the free Discord as well as my paid Discord members as well, is a pullback to buy in to then take the market higher. And this one could be a much more extended movement towards this liquidity area, towards this imbalance, because we finally fulfilled the large retested area. So looking at this from the fractal confirmation point of view, if you were a trader who wanted to apply this all the time, we can see the market actually came down into this zone here, which was the one we were looking for entries from. Why are we looking at this zone? The last candle before the impulse, the final imbalanced candle as well, before we had these multiple breaks of structure. So when the market came into this level, we had a couple of options. We could buy limit straight in off here, stops below, or what we could actually do instead is wait for a fractal confirmation entry. So if we go to the 1 minute, as that is the topic of this video, let's see what we get. We have here lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low now. So if we were to break structure, that could confirm some upside for us. What we've actually seen here is a break of structure there. We've also seen a break of structure at this point as well. So what we could look for now is best place to buy, this kind of area here, right? So this is a bit of a messier area. We could use maybe the 3 minute to kind of identify last candle before the impulse. And what we could do from here is put a buy limit on. Stops could go below this low. And now that's a 8 pip stop. If we go up to a higher time frame, if we run this to the full targets, we can look for the full imbalance to be filled. So this is the power of fractal confirmation. Now myself, I ended up taking this trade early because I thought it was Friday and it was Thursday. And also this was a clear target as well. So the trade was taken off here, but the initial target was up here. Obviously this is kind of hindsight, but I'm showing you fractal confirmations. I'm not claiming to have taken this as a 21R position. It's possible. I have a few members in my group who trade fractal confirmations always. They're catching crazy risk reward all the time. But for me, I'm just not so bothered about crazy risk reward. I can make consistent results and it pays me nicely. So that is what I do. Let's let this trade run and see what it gets. Do we get the tap in? Will it be successful? And will it be a profitable position for us? So here we can see we were tapped in. If we drag this across smoothly, we will see that we just about dodged getting stopped out of this position. But that is why we put our stop under this low, right? Now, if we drag this across, you'll see we're now running a heavily profitable position. This is why we could put our stops to break even and just let this thing roll. So leaving this to run towards that imbalanced area, you can see that it was fulfilled. And that is a solid way to catch insanely high risk reward trades without actually adding in more risk. So it is possible. It does consistently repeat. And if you focus on learning a fractal confirmation approach to your entries, you can definitely make some wonderful profits. Now this one, as mentioned, did come close to being stopped out. But fortunately, we were saved because we were safe with our stop loss positioning and we put it just underneath this low here. This actually came in and formed essentially equal lows, but failed to break through. So we stayed in the trade. So with the 8 pip stop, or well, 8.2 pip stop, we managed to catch a 179 pip target, which would have actually banked you 21.8 R. This would do you for a whole month. This could do you for 2 months. You may not need to trade again for half a year if you caught a trade like this. Obviously you can, but you don't need to. So this is why I only go with them every now and then. I'm more interested in just relaxed, lifestyle-focused trading. I can catch 5R, 6R, 7R, 10R and be out. I don't need to be going for 20R every single day. But if it's something you are interested in, or you have small capital and you want to build that up, your start of your journey, or you're just going for some crazy gains on your work, you can definitely look towards applying this fractal confirmation method that I've just showed you. You see the consistency and you see how easy it can be to apply if you just wait for your high time frame zones to be tapped, wait for the high time frame confirmation, and then apply the same methods to the low time frames for that fractal confirmation for high probability, high reward trades. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some value. I suggest you go back and back test this fractal confirmation. You might find a lot of ideas where it does work. You might find some ideas where it doesn't work. It's not a 100% guaranteed thing, but it's going to give you better probabilities, better risk reward on your trades as well. If you have the time to be active, to sit and look at the charts and wait for that fractal confirmation to play out, then this can be a brilliant way to build small accounts, achieve funding, and grow your capital big time. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video.